Good morning, everybody, and a happy Tuesday morning to you. All right, there's only one royal family story in here, and everything else is Harry, Meghan. It doesn't usually work that way, but today, that's how it's working. So let's just jump in and cover it. So this will be a much shorter than usual video. Let's get busy. Let's go. We're going to just jump in with this one story. Apparently, Princess Diana made a prediction about Prince William before she passed away. And what she said about William's future, her prediction, while speaking with The Mirror, which is Hello Magazine, Diana said, quote, "William's all right. The country is lucky to have William." Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. Could you imagine if William had been born second? Oh, my God. All right, let's move on. All right, I had to touch on this. It's not royal family stuff, but apparently the Associated Press news agency was zooming in on the plane and saw Emmanuel Macron being pushed in the face by his wife, Bridget. I mean, it's caught on camera. It looked like they were having a domestic, dispute. Now, this happened right as they landed in Vietnam. Now, of course, the family has come out since then, and they said they were just joking. There was no fight, and they were blaming misinformation. Yeah. Well, when they walked out, he put his arm out for her to help her down the stairs, and she didn't take his arm. So I think they were having a fight. A big thank you to Chris Rose for this picture of Macron that was released right after this event. Let's move on. If there was any doubt that Meghan copies Catherine and trolls Catherine, it was removed because, first we heard that Catherine was going to get her own rose named after her. And not long after that, we started getting all these pictures of Meghan Markle cutting roses with the kids, without the kids, putting roses together. How many times have we seen her do that? It's really, quite frankly, at this point, it's really boring, and she ain't all that putting them together anyway. Well, then Catherine put something out for Bee Day. She put out this picture. We know that she has her own hive, and a video came out showing bees, buzzing around the house and, going in and out. And at the end of the video, it says, "Happy, Bee Day." This is Catherine's thing. This is what Catherine does. She has always tended her own beehive and gotten her own honey. So now all of a sudden Meghan puts out a video showing her and her daughter walking towards the, where the bees are, where the smoker was. Now here's a couple of things I've noticed. First of all, Meghan has her own beekeeper. She's already admitted to that. She doesn't do the bees herself. Number two, what I see in the video is this little girl is not happy, and she actually kind of pulls back a little bit, like, please don't make me walk up here. That's like the second thing I noticed. And then Meghan takes her hand off of her, rubs her back, and let's go. And she goes, "I've got good vibes," as she's going to get the honey. This just makes me nervous. I'm just telling you. And what she says is, it's a reminder to do something that scares you a little bit. I think that's part of it, but I'm trying to stay in the calm because it's beautiful to be this connected. So basically, her daughter didn't want to go, and she's forcing her daughter to go near bees when Meghan herself has her own professional beekeeper who takes care of everything. Could somebody please explain that to me? By the way, Queen Camilla also beekeeps and makes her own honey from hives at her home, Ray Mill House. And I honestly think that's the only reason that Meghan even does this, because she knows the royals do it. All right, let's move on. I want to talk again about the airline stewardess who claims that Meghan was on her a flight and they exchanged notes. Okay, I'm concerned because number one, there's not one picture of Meghan on this flight. That's the first thing that bothers me. Number two, this has turned into something else that has a life of its own. And let me explain. First of all, we're going to discuss this girl's nails in just a minute because something else has come up. Now, people have said that this woman has retracted her story. I checked into that. She actually has not. But what they're saying is going on is the airline didn't directly retract the story. Instead, they've shifted the focus of the story. The idea is to show the positive interaction between Meghan and the American Airlines staff. Now, I want to thank the Royal Rogue for coming up with this. This airline stewardess shared Meghan's private information on TikTok, but American Airlines directives on passenger identity is ironclad. So this had to be a PR stunt because that would mean that any other VIP flying with American Airlines could have their information put out on TikTok. Now, I'm waiting for somebody else to speak out, and that's because supposedly, allegedly, the captain of this flight insulted the flight attendant about her nails, and Meghan Markle had to come to her defense. Who in the heck believes that one? According to this flight attendant, the pilot criticized her nails as intense and says, quote, "Sir, it doesn't matter what you think. The Queen says she likes them," close quote. Now, it's something along the lines of, you got to be careful with nails. Like for me, when I was a nurse, we didn't use nail polish. The nails stayed short. And we certainly didn't use these fake acrylic press-on things that this woman has on her hands. When we went to work at the hospital, they showed this woman with the fake nails and they had her scrub her hands for 5 minutes with the stuff the doctors used before surgery. And then after that, they swabbed and it still grew out hundreds of bacteria. Artificial nails are a breeding ground for bacteria, especially gram-negative bacteria, which is difficult to kill and is associated with hospital-acquired infections. And they also contribute to the spread of viruses. And you can also get fungal infections. They're just, while they may aesthetically look good, they're very unsanitary and they harbor germs. And she's putting them in your face every time she hands you something with those nails. Ugh. All right, let's move on. All right, next up, I already told you how Meghan Markle and the former Vogue editor, UK editor Edward Enfield, had a falling out. And we've already covered that, but some more information has come out that's just, I have to talk about it. Apparently, it goes deeper. This whole thing goes deeper than him being unable to accommodate her for the 2022 cover. Apparently, she gave him a list of impossible demands and even tried to also appeal to US Vogue Anna Wintour to help get her on the cover. So what happened was Meghan and this Enfield guy had plans for UK Vogue September 2022 issue that would include Meghan's keynotes, appearance for One Young World. We've already discussed this, the time where she spoke about herself 57 times. And this was supposed to be extensive features across the magazine and the digital editions, but scheduling wasn't the only reason that it never happened. Meghan wanted a global cover. She wanted to be on the UK cover. She wanted to be on the US cover. And she also had a list of demands. She wanted control over the photographer, the writer, the final edit, the photos, the cover lines, and wanted a global issue. And there was absolutely no way they were agreeing to that. The source said nobody gets that, not even Beyonce. Meghan was so desperate, she even set up a Zoom call with Anna Wintour to try and pitch her the idea, and Anna was not interested. And the magazine already had Serena Williams set up for the cover. So Meghan asked for a Zoom and Anna did it to be polite, but basically said, no. And by the way, the only person who has ever been on both of the covers simultaneously was Adele, who did it in November of 2021. We do know that Enfield asked Meghan to be on the cover of British Vogue 2019, Forces for Change, but she chose to guest edit instead. Now, she did get the September 2022 cover when she was promoting the Archetypes podcast, which we now know is gone. She appeared on the digital cover of New York Magazine's The Cut, and she was supposed to be on the cover of Variety, but then, it was held because Queen passed away. What it comes down to is they're saying Meghan and her team had very high expectations and were expecting she might get a print cover or a digital cover. But this guy Enfield said, I can't meet your expectations. He already has a magazine cover in the bag for that month. And he was absolutely furious at all of the demands that she made. And now they're no longer on speaking terms. Now, as she usually does, Meghan sends somebody out. A source says that is untrue. Meghan never sought a cover from Vogue, and the magazine actually approached her multiple times. I don't believe her. Moving on. All right, next up, we talked about the hypocrisy of Harry and Meghan. They're trying to have their own royal court in Montecito. Tom Bauer has spoken out and said, I'm sure Harry and Meghan would like to rule over a royal court from their Montecito mansion. Nothing would give them greater pleasure than courtiers pulling their forelocks as they bow and scrape to please the Duke and Duchess. He went on to say that competing with Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace would delight Meghan, but what they have assembled is not a royal court, but a very expensive group of bureaucrats, which basically signals that Harry and Meghan are in their final desperate bid to save their brand. And I agree. Mr. Bauer also pointed out that the courtiers are underpaid, overworked, devoted, loyal professionals that are committed to the traditions of a 1,000-year-old monarchy and the country they served. And if Harry follows Meghan to commercialize his title to earn some dollars, which is what they've done, then Harry's chance of reconciliation return to Britain, the little chance he has left, it will be totally extinguished. I have to also add, personally, I think there might be a little unconscious bias going on in the hiring of these employees because that doesn't look like a very diverse group of people to me. You know, people are all talking about the fact that the demographic who should like her don't like her. She has a real distinct lack of likability. The young middle-class aspirational women who buy Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop crystal eggs and like scented candles, they should like Meghan Markle. But they don't. One of her biggest problems is you have to be yourself on camera. You have to be completely, unashamedly authentic. And people can tell when you're not and when you're at ease with yourself. And she's always way too worried about how she comes across. She can't be herself. And people just don't like it. And that's one of the reasons why everything has failed. Now, Ted Sarandos and Netflix have lost a lot of money with Meghan. So the question is, why are they renewing the contract? The With Love Meghan series was absolutely savaged by reviewers, and they're claiming that a second series came out and Harry and the children won't be in it. Well, they weren't in the first one either, but Harry had one little walk-on cameo. But let's be honest here, people. This was the same show filmed at the same time, and all they did was split up the episodes. That is not a season 2. A season 2 is something that happens in a different year. But what people are saying is that the relationship between Netflix and Meghan goes a lot deeper than they think. Now, I've already reported to you that Ted Sarandos had come out and said that Meghan is underestimated in terms of her influence on culture, and people are fascinated by her. I'm not fascinated by her, not the least little bit. Now, their initial deal was reportedly worth over $100 million in 5 years. And other than that, let's be honest. She did the Archetypes podcast. It was a fail, and Spotify cut them off immediately. She's invested in Clever Blends, which we then found out had high amounts of lead. She invested in Cesta Collective, which we then found out that they were abusing the women that are weaving the baskets. They're hardly making any money. She's trying to make money from the Shop Me page. She did the Netflix deal. And what happened with the Netflix deal? Well, they did the Polo, which bombed. They did the Live to Lead, which bombed. They did Invictus, which bombed. They did the Harry Meghan 6-part docuseries, and while people watched it, it didn't win one award. And what's being said is because the ratings were really bad, and the only reason that everything is being renewed with just Meghan, if you can believe this, is because Ted Sarandos is a massive, massive fan of Meghan's personally. He calls her the rock star, and there's no way that her deal will not be renewed. They're also saying that Ted is in the, quote, Meghan business, and that is not about to change. He's all in. So while that deal will be re-upped, it's based on Meghan's on-screen presence, which I don't get that at all because she sucks, and her ideas in the lifestyle arena, and not on the account of any ideas that Harry has had. So those who do business with Netflix believe the new deal will be a much reduced offer compared with the current agreement. It's going to be focused entirely on Meghan, and this time it will be without a generous upfront payment. So as I told you in my video yesterday, Meghan is going to have the Netflix deal. Meghan has the Lemonada podcast. Meghan has the As Ever brand. This is all Meghan. Harry has nothing now, literally. He's lost Sentibale. He's lost African parks. He's being asked to step down. Ted Sarantos is not the least bit interested in Harry. Harry doesn't have a podcast. What does Harry have left? He has 2 charities in the UK that he goes to visit once a year. And the rest of the time, you don't hear anything else. So if Meghan's going to divorce Harry, this would be the time to do it because everything is for her. He has boosted her, and now she can get rid of him. In the meantime, they're reporting that Meghan is feeling anxious about the speculation over Harry being unhappy because he is unhappy. And as the speculation in the U.S. grows and she's getting the deals and he's being left in the dust, that things are, not good. So she's aware, particularly in the UK, about Harry being so unhappy, and she's determined to show people they have a strong marriage and a happy life. The problem is they don't have a happy life. He is miserable. He misses his family. He misses his friends. He misses his old life. He misses being a royal. This man doesn't have a job. He never had a job. Even as a royal, he didn't have a job. He's been groomed to walk around, shake hands, and say nice things to people, and he can't even do that now. I mean, seriously, guys. Oh my goodness. All right, guys, don't forget to go to my other channel. The link is down in the description box because the videos from Naples are still dropping there. They're still going. We're still going. You'll also find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, my link to my father's book, which is still up for sale, and a link to my Amazon wish list, as well as a physical address. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.